I've spoken briefly about channels and channeling many times. The bulk of what I have said has been directed to my opinion that if something falls out of your face, it is the adult thing to do to take direct responsibility for it, rather than foist it off on some form of indirect quasi-possession by ghosts with famous biblical or peculiar names to give the non-corporal some authority or authenticity. I have seen that no one is listening, and so I have printed this for clarity. After eons in the ethers, it becomes a new thing to channel something other than myself. However, for your listening pleasure and illumination, I will henceforth be channeling some major discorporate and famous entities from the invisible world of, if you cannot feel it, does it really exist? There are three major entities who will address us and their oversoul group of advisors who fade in and out as their expertise is called for in the exchange. For purposes of balance, because balance is the new watchword on earth, they work together in pairs or small groups. I will now share the names of the entities and the oversoul groups. I will channel George Carlin, Bella Abzug, and Forrest Gump. Advising them will be the oversoul pairs and small groups of Einstein and Baby Huey, Genghis Khan and Gandhi, Bruce Lee and Julia Child, Sherlock Holmes and Santa Claus, Romeo and Juliet, Midas and King Solomon, Alice in Wonderland and Citizen Kane, Godzilla and Mary Richards, Liberace and Janis Joplin, Helen of Troy, Nancy Drew, and J.R. Ewing, Robinson Crusoe, Archie Bunker, and Martin Luther King, Robin Hood, Don Quixote, Gunga Din, William Tell, Peter Pan, Hiawatha, and the Pied Piper, Barbie, Bambi, Don Juan, Prometheus, Venus, Cupid, and Pandora, Buck Rogers, Luke Skywalker, Amos and Andy, Yoda, Yogi Bear, Tiny Tim, and Paul Bunyan, Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Tarzan, G.I. Joe, James Bond, Fred Flintstone, and Smokey Bear, Plato, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, the old man of the mountains, the old man in the sea, the guy of whom it is said, this bell tolls for thee, the mother of all things, Mother Teresa, Mary Magdalene, and all the unseen and unrecognized spirits and feelings everywhere. These will all be interpreted and qualified for us by the eternal wisdom teacher, your friend and mine, Donald Duck. So as the rapture blows through the ethers and we learn to grow up and reconnect with all of the laughter of our real selves, we can notice that the cage door is open and fly away free. There is no door that love cannot open or stupidity cement. The only question there is then is where your love has went. Since I wrote this some time ago in 2012, the ante has been raised and more persons are channeling and even sleep eating with all the well-known archangels and other famous entities. Not wanting to be left out of the flow of warm gases emanating from these non-corporal dinner meetings, I decided to solicit contact with some of the lesser known of the archangels. We all know how busy Metatron is, being in many places at once when he is no place at all. So I looked up the archangels Malox, Metamucil, Magnesia, and Mucus. They seem to function well as a group with their choreographer High Fructose. I had my people call the people of Archangel Raphael. He's booked months in advance, however I was able to get an appointment with his seconds, remorseful, reluctant, recalcitrant, redundant, and retired. Capping off the herd of the name-dropped are, in my estimation, the greatest of the archangels. Ursory, unorthodox, unusual, unbelievable, unseen, unseemly, and urinal. I am sure that with all this cosmic input, all of the intellectualization will keep the dwarf star from destroying Earth, and apparently it has, and or will keep you from paying good attention to yourself. And after all, if you do not have the individuality and personal power to take responsibility for what falls out of your face, how do you expect to be able to hold space open to contain your manifestation as the energy flux on Earth continues to increase? Will you have somebody else do it? I hear that the Martians have some open condominiums. Call. It's toll-free.